Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano, and on today's program, Paula Fleming of the Better Business Bureau is here. We'll talk about ways to avoid getting scammed during the holiday season. First, though, we do check out the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, sunshine out there. It's chilly, 40 degrees, and it's really not going to warm up all that much. Kind of bright and brisk today, just a few clouds, highs in the lower 40s. Another chilly night coming up tonight. Lows drop off into the upper 20s. Kind of a stable weekend. Tomorrow we'll see a mix of clouds and sun. More sun than clouds, I think. Still rather chilly. Highs tomorrow into the mid-40s. A little more of the same on Sunday, mid-40s with sun and clouds. Look at Monday. We're going to warm up and we're going to get wet again. Wind and rain with a high Monday in the mid, maybe even the upper 60s. But again, we have sunshine and 40 in Quincy right now. In the news today, a 2-alarm house fire in Quincy Center earlier this week left one man homeless. Flames heavily damaged this house at 166 Granite Street, right near Fort Street at about 4 o'clock last Sunday afternoon. Firefighters say it appears the fire started on a rear deck and then spread up the side of the house into the attic and eventually through the roof. Neighbors alerted a man inside about the fire. He escaped safely. 3 firefighters did sustain minor injuries battling that blaze. The cause is still under investigation, but does not appear to be suspicious. Construction is now underway on a new affordable housing complex in Quincy Point. Ground was broken Tuesday on the new 18-unit apartment building on Winter Street. The new complex will replace 4 existing homes. It will provide 18 studio apartments for people who are homeless or about to become homeless. NeighborWorks Housing Solutions of Quincy is developing this new project, and Father Bill's in Mainspring will provide services for the tenants. Rents will be paid using state and federal funds. That $4 million development is being funded with city and state affordable housing money. Curtis Construction Company of Stoughton will build the complex, which was designed by Plain Taylor Architects from Boston. 2 students at the Southwest Middle School here in Quincy are being disciplined for bringing knives to school. Principal Derek Lakey says the students brought folding knives to school on Monday. Both admitted to having the knives when they were brought to his office. Lakey says the students showed the knives to other students, but he says there was never any threats made to students or staff at the school. He says the 2 incidents were unrelated. Lakey says that the students will be held accountable and disciplined. Well, at least 119 sea turtles are being treated at the New England Aquarium's Sea Turtle Hospital at the Quincy Shipyard. The turtles were rescued from Cape Cod beaches after becoming stranded by the colder waters in Cape Cod Bay. Volunteers with the Wellfleet Bay Wildlife Sanctuary search for stranded turtles every fall and then bring them to the shipyard facility for rehabilitation. Officials say the turtles become disoriented by the hook of Cape Cod and they're unable to swim south to warmer waters. An average of 370 sea turtles are treated at the Quincy facility every year, the majority of which are endangered Kemp's Ridley turtles. Green turtles and leatherbacks have also been rescued in recent years. The turtles are treated for hypothermia and other conditions before being released in warmer southern waters. Father Bill's in Mainspring says it provided over 1,300 meals for people in need back on Thanksgiving Day. In-person meals returned to Christ Church Episcopal in Quincy Center in multiple sittings to allow for social distancing, and 500 pre-packaged Thanksgiving dinners were delivered to people all across the South Shore. Father Bill's Thanksgiving meal program dates back more than 30 years. Father Bill said almost $20,000 was raised to help pay for this year's Thanksgiving meal program. A menorah lighting ceremony was held on the Hancock Adams Comet in Quincy Center last night to celebrate the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah. Rabbi Fred Benjamin of the Congregation Beth Shalom of the Blue Hills joined Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch and members of the community in reading a letter of unity that was written by President George Washington to the first synagogue in the United States in Rhode Island 258 years ago.
For happily, the government of the United States, which gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance, requires only that they who live under its protection should demean themselves as good citizens in giving it on all occasions their effectual support. He continues, may the children of the stock of Abraham who dwell in this land continue to merit and enjoy the goodwill of the other inhabitants, while everyone shall sit in safety under his own vine and fig tree, and there shall be none to make him afraid.
Children were treated to some songs, traditional chocolates, and several games of Spin the Dreidel. Coming up, Paula Fleming of the Better Business Bureau helps us avoid being scammed this holiday season. That's next. Welcome back. It is the holiday season, of course. It is also the season to watch out for your money. And the folks at the Better Business Bureau are well qualified to help us do that. We're so really pleased to welcome back, after several years, Paula Fleming, local spokesperson for the Better Business Bureau, to the show here live. Paula, great to see you again.
Nice to see you as well. Thank you for having me.
Thanks you for coming.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
It's great to be in a studio after probably a year that I've been actually physically in a studio.
Really?
So yeah, it's exciting. Unfortunately, we have to talk about scams during the holiday season, but it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, great to have you here as well, and to
Thank you.
offer some tips for some of our viewers
Yes.
as ways to protect themselves.
Yes.
What are you hearing so far this year in terms of people getting scammed?
Well, scams have been going on all throughout the pandemic, but right now what we're seeing is an uptick in scams related to the holiday season.
Sure.
So specifically, the Better Business Bureau, we haven't been able to talk about this with you and or your viewers, but we want to encourage people to check out bbb.org/scam tracker.
Okay.
What that does is tell you what's happening in your community as well as across the United States in regards to scams that are transpiring. So it's something fairly new that Better Business Bureau has rolled out, and it's called the Better Business Bureau Scam Tracker.
I checked it out this morning, actually.
You did?
I did.
Okay,
And
yeah.
you can hone right in on, like Quincy.
Right.
And it will tell you how many scams, the nature of the scam, how much money was lost in the scam.
Or if you think you've been a victim of a scam,
Yeah.
it can help you decipher if it was possibly a scam.
Yeah.
Or you can actually file right there that you've been a victim of
Oh,
a
I didn't know
scam to
that.
help your
Okay.
community out so they're aware of what's transpiring. So it's a really cool tool.
It's a great tool.
And
Yeah.
a lot of media, they do use it, like yourself, to see what's going on in the community.
Yeah.
But that's just one variable of the Better Business Bureau. As you know, we work with different government agencies, the FTC, the Attorney General's Office, Office of Consumer Affairs, to keep, kind of in touch with what's transpiring. I am in charge of Eastern Mass, Maine, Rhode Island, and Vermont.
Okay.
And what we're seeing across the board there in almost all of New England are scams transpiring to online purchases.
Sure.
So it's the holiday season, no surprise to us that there's an increase of purchases online. And what we're telling people is be very cautious when you see pop-up ads on social media. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Okay.
If the price, if your child is asking for Hanukkah or Christmas or Kwanzaa, whatever it may be, if they're asking for this, hot ticket item or hot item on the toy list, be cautious if you're online and see a deal that's, it's a great value, because oftentimes it is a scam.
Okay, that's great advice. It's probably
Yeah.
better just to you take the initiative, right, and go directly to that company's website.
We
perhaps?
always, you're exactly correct. What
Okay.
we encourage people to do is obviously you want to do some research before you go in physically to a store or make any purchases online. Check out the business. Go directly to the business website.
Yep.
Do obviously bbb.org. You can do a search on any business, find out if they're reliable, credible, if they have any complaints, what they're about, read the customer reviews, take 5-10 minutes, do a little bit of research. It can really save you hassle in the end,
Yeah.
because then you're not sitting there left without receiving a product or getting a counterfeit product, or you think you're purchasing a great, Bluetooth radio and you receive, a small keychain. These are things that have been transpiring.
Or nothing comes at all,
Or
right?
nothing comes at all,
Yeah.
and then you're out the money. So.
Right. Speaking of money, what are some good ways to pay, protect yourself when you're paying, specifically online?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of people will say financially they just want to use a debit card, right?
Yeah.
Because then they know what they have in their bank account. I actually discourage from using a debit card. I encourage using a credit card.
Okay.
One credit card for holiday shopping, and let's take it a step further, one credit card for online purchases. The reason for that, it's easier to keep track of what's coming into your home, what purchases you're making online, and compare your receipts to your credit card. A lot of us don't have the mail that we receive, but we're online reviewing our accounts. It makes it a little bit more manageable for many people.
That's a great tip.
And then that's also a layer of protection, because if you use your debit card, it's very difficult to tell the bank, well, I was scammed or I didn't get that money. It's hard. Many banks will not recoup the funds to your account.
Yeah.
You use a credit card, you can then say, okay, you can dispute the transaction,
Yes.
and you're more than likely to get that credit back.
Okay, that's great advice too. Also, a debit card opens you up to possible theft right out of your bank account, right?
It possibly, yes.
Yeah.
Identity theft is something that's been happening, and
Yes.
it continues to happen. And that's the majority of scams. They're either phishing for your personal information or your financial information. So
Yeah.
that is why we encourage people, whether you're receiving an unsolicited text, email, a pop-up on social media, a phone call pressuring you into giving your information, hang up, take a moment, take a breath, and do your research.
Yeah. What about some of these pay apps or PayPal, for instance?
Yes,
or
yes.
we've heard just Venmo me the money. Or
Listen, I'm a mom of teenagers. I live
Okay.
and die by Venmo.
Okay.
My number one tip here is, and a lot of people don't realize it, there's a feature within these apps, specifically Venmo, that you can actually make it private. I encourage you to do that. Don't leave what you're giving, if you're paying a tip to your nail salon, or you're sending your son or daughter money for lunch. Keep things private. The more secure you keep things, the better you are.
Okay.
The less information out there for people to, potentially steal information.
Sure. We've heard also change your password often. Make it difficult. Make it complicated.
Yeah, and don't use the same password for everything.
Right,
I
yeah.
used to do that because I had so many different devices. But it's very important that you not only update all of your technology, whether it's your smartphone, your laptop, your Chromebook, your whatever it is, update the passwords. Don't share the passwords
Okay.
throughout the family members either. A lot of people do that as well, not thinking. So another thing I think is very important for the viewers is make sure that if you're allowing your children to play games, they're going into the basement, going to their room, they're not being watched. Oftentimes you don't even realize that you're allowing them to upgrade, whether it's Minecraft or one of those
Really?
great games. Yeah, and a lot of people, we've seen an increase after the holiday season because they get these great Xboxes or devices, and the parents are kind of like, here you go have fun.
Okay.
Here's the credit card to initially.
Yikes.
And then it's saved, and they're not real. The children oftentimes don't even realize that they're paying these small incremental fees. And so just be aware of what's transpiring and what your credit card is actually opting into.
Okay. Are we still seeing quote unquote old-fashioned scams like you mentioned the telephone or through the mail or even door to door?
Yeah, honestly, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've seen a lot less of the complaints and scams in regards to that.
Okay.
When I started, it was definitely, beware of people that are knocking on your door. And sure, it does happen. I think in different communities too, it happens more. The more rural communities, I hear a lot more of that. I would say that it's more social media, online scams that we're seeing, more text messages where things look to be real.
Yes.
I call them mirror websites. So you're looking, even Better Business Bureau, our name has been taken because it's a well-known brand,
Sure.
and people can easily mirror our website. They can easily scare people into thinking that they have to, pay an outdated bill
Yes.
or outstanding bill. So you have to be cautious on, even if it sounds like it's a legitimate business, you have to take a breath and not give out information.
That's great
We just
advice.
teamed up with Eversource actually last week to say, okay, if you receive any phone calls claiming that everything is going to be turned off, we will never do that. So don't give out your information.
Okay.
And a lot of people still do that.
Yeah, a lot of utility companies are falling victim to that.
They are. We
unfortunately, yeah.
mentioned before we got on,
Yep.
there's kind of an unfortunate thing going on where people are the prices are astronomical right now for many things, right? And so there's a little fear in that as well. You know, can I afford to put the $70 in my gas tank? And, you know, should I price shop around? And why can one gas station charge more than another gas station? And we often get calls or social media inquiries, is that even legal? And in fact, it is. You know, so there's different things that customers need knowledge that they need to arm themselves with, right, to protect themselves. And that's why we are here. That's why I've been doing it for 20 years. Whether you've been victim of a scam, whether it's the holidays and you don't want to purchase, you know, a fake or counterfeit item, or like we said, an item that never comes, do the research. I cannot stress that enough.
You mentioned text. It's interesting. Just yesterday, the states announced that there is a phishing scam, text phishing scam, through the Registry of Motor Vehicles. Somebody's claiming that they're from the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, which doesn't exist in Massachusetts. There is an RMV.
I've been there.
So there's your first tip that it's a scam.
Yes, but again, a lot of people, when you see something that sounds legitimate, they just they go with their trust or fear, and then they're quick to give out their information, and it's very hard once you give that out to get it back.
And that's what they're looking for: your name, address, phone number, debit card number, credit card number, social security number. Right. And once they have those, they take off. Yes.
And also, I'd like to just mention that it's a charitable time right now.
Yes.
So a lot of people do receive phone calls. They do receive the postcards. They sometimes receive the knocks on the doors or the firefighters and police that have the boots out. So again, if you are not sure if it's a legitimate charity, you're not sure exactly what the cause is, how much of your dollar goes to it, you can always check them out. Give.org is a great resource. It's called the Wise Giving Alliance, and it'll give you more information about the charity. And a legitimate charity will take your money at any time. So don't, if they're really pressuring you into give, or I'll pick up a check at your home, do not fall victim to that.
Okay.
Again, a legitimate charity will take your money any time of the year.
Okay. What recourse does someone have if they have been scammed? You know, what are some of the things that they should do if they've fallen victim?
Yeah, great question. So first and foremost, depending on the scam, because that's where FTC, Attorney General's Office, the Better Business Bureau, all agencies that are here to support people, but you're talking about after the scam happened. So there's unfortunately oftentimes little we can do to help out, and that's why we're here encouraging people to take a breath and do the research in advance. But if you feel as though you've been victim of a scam, please do report the scam directly to the Better Business Bureau via what we talked about, Scam Tracker, which is online, or you can call obviously at 508-652-4800 and let us know about that. But also the different government agencies would like to know as well. So although we do feed each other information, if there's a significant pattern of complaints or trend in scams, then we like to work together to get that information out. And then obviously if it's a significant scam that you've been victim to, obviously the police department, your local police department would want to know.
File a police report.
Yes.
Maybe notify all your financial institutions.
If you've given out if you've given out your bank information, credit card information, yes, most definitely you would want to do that.
Okay. Is there any kind of like statute of limitations, Paula, or time, deadline where you have to report something?
So for us, it's a 3-year period. Yes, that's So we report on a 3-year period. But obviously, I can look up, what scams and trends that have happened over the last 20 years. But we when someone is filing a complaint, the difference between a complaint and a customer review, I think customer review is, a situation that transpired and you're unhappy with service. Whereas a complaint is we're promised a roof, they only did half of it, and you want to recoup funds. So that's the way I look at complaints and customer reviews. So there's a lot of people still say, I'm going to file a complaint with the Better Business Bureau, but we do a lot more than just handle complaints. And it's important that people check out bbb.org, get familiar with it, because we really have evolved through the last 100 years in what we offer.
Will you kind of stand behind people, representing them in a case, maybe in court, if you will?
Well, we're a third impartial party, and we try to work with businesses and consumers to resolve any issues that transpire. We do report on every business, so not just member companies, which is a misconception.
That is a misconception, yes.
People think we only report on member businesses. That's not, in fact, true. And not everyone, another misconception is that if anyone pays, that they can become a member of the Better Business Bureau. That is so far from the truth.
There's a vetting process, right?
Yes, there is a vetting process. You have to be in business for 6 months. You have to be properly licensed and insured if your industry deems necessary. So yeah, there's a lot of variables that go into this. You
Yeah.
can't have outstanding complaints. You
Yep.
have to resolve your complaints in a timely fashion, and you have to act ethically. There's standards for accreditation, so we do not just say, oh,
You can't just buy your way in,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can't just buy your way
Yeah.
in, and that is a misconception
Yeah.
that people have.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. And there are different grades also.
There are ratings, yes.
yeah.
So yes, there. If you log on to bbb.org, check out a local company, and you would see not only their rating. Let's hope it's a B or higher.
Right.
And if they're a member of the Better Business Bureau or not.
Mm-hmm.
And we have approximately 9,000 members in the 4 states that we cover. And obviously, we have over 6 million views
Wow.
on business profiles every year. So, there's a lot of data, and it's a tedious job to update the data because, as you know, especially during this pandemic,
Yeah.
businesses were popping up and then they were closing down.
Right.
And it's extremely unfortunate, but it's our job to provide factual information to people.
Yeah.
And that could be B2B or B2C.
And an accreditation can be withdrawn, revoked, right?
We revoke accreditations,
Yeah.
unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. If there's enough cause, right? If you after your
Most
investigation,
definitely, yes. Yeah. Not only do we not accept applications, and unfortunately, you don't meet our standards.
Right.
But we do look at and revoke members if they're not adhering to our guidelines.
Tell me about, I believe this past week and the week coming is protect your income tax information.
Oh God, is it? Let's not talk about taxes. I don't
I
like
know.
that.
It's
yeah.
not far off, unfortunately, the
No,
tax season, yeah.
It's not far off,
Yeah.
and I'm married to someone in that industry, so I do know it very well. But no, yeah, in all seriousness,
Yeah.
a lot of, and especially because they were different for businesses in which we work with, there are different aspects of this, right? That businesses that are filing, never mind, people that are filing, and even that is serious too, because we have already received people saying, well, what's going to happen because I had a stipend for having a child? Is that going to be taxed or not?
Great questions,
It's
yeah.
all great questions, and
Yeah.
I wish I had the answers to all of them. But that's where the IRS website comes in handy, because as I mentioned, there are different government agencies that we work with, and the IRS is one of them, and they're a great resource to go directly to them for information. But if you're looking for a reliable tax person to handle your taxes, that's where you can use bbb.org.
Yeah, it's all good information for sure.
Thank
yeah.
you, yeah.
Are you seeing different scams in different parts of the country that maybe we should be aware of here in New England?
Yeah. So I would honestly say that they're usually we issue press releases for across the United States, and what we try to do is get ahead of the scam. We like to be proactive instead of reactive. And proactively, I would say the number one, as we talked about, is the social media
Okay.
and online scams that we are going to see them continue to ramp up. So we're just trying to arm people with knowledge, but nothing that's happening, let's say in California, that we're not seeing in Boston.
Okay.
I don't know
Right.
whether that's a good thing or a bad
Well,
thing.
right.
It's really universal in the scam trends that we're seeing.
Yeah.
In regards to complaints, what we see in New England versus what we see in California, that really is dependent upon what businesses are headquartered in each state.
Interesting.
Yeah, so if you have a large business that is receiving a huge amount of complaints for whatever reason, it might be, I don't even want to name.
No, right, yeah.
But that the volume of business has increased, right? Because online shopping has increased. Their volume of complaints may have increased, and it may be something that they are not at this time able to even handle because of the obviously offshore issues and fulfillment issues that are transpiring. Then that would be a variable in when you're talking about complaints across the United States.
Yeah, okay, so it's all relative.
It's all relative
Yeah.
to which business is headquartered in which state.
Right.
Right, and the volume of complaints, how large the company is. And there's also, I always say, there's consumers have they need to take responsibility in some of their financial purchases and the information that they digest prior to making the purchase
Yeah.
or prior to giving out the information. We have to take ownership of that. We have to take our time and not just go with, okay, I'm fearful and give it out. arm yourself with knowledge. There's plenty of us out there that are trying to protect you and trying to encourage you to do some research.
In particular, too, with the with the utility companies, I'm thinking you can just hang up and call them back.
Right. Exactly.
And double check.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. My parents, they can't tell. Sometimes they do get nervous themselves, and I'll say to them, "Did you not just see me talking about this? Or did you not read the article?" And
Right.
they're like, "Well, we just got nervous."
Emotion takes over.
Emotion takes over.
Yeah.
Even the booster shots. Those are calls that are coming in. They don't. Is this real? Do I give out my information or? No, you don't. Don't give any information
Right.
out if it's an incoming phone call and you're not knowing who's on the other end.
Right.
So
Simple.
it's very simple,
Yeah.
right? But they get nervous and
Yeah.
they, want to do what's right. So, and in their mind, what's right.
And these scammers are very good at what they do.
They're extremely good.
Preying on emotions.
And there's variations of scams,
Yeah.
and they're quick to change, right? So if I'm out there talking about a scam, what to avoid, they may pivot, and then I have to keep up with them. So yeah, they're very, very intelligent.
I want to wish you a safe, happy,
Oh.
scam-free holiday,
Yes,
Paula.
thank you. To
Thanks
you
so much.
as well, and everybody watching.
Thank you. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Just enough time to check the forecast for you for the rest of the day today. Kind of what you see is what you get. Sunny and brisk, temperatures in the low 40s, feeling a little chillier. What happened to 60 degrees of yesterday? It's gone. Lows tonight in the upper 20s, and a dry weekend, more seasonable. Temperatures in the low to mid 40s during the day and in the mid 30s at night. We warm up again and we get wet and windy on Monday. Thanks again to Paula Fleming for joining us from Better Business Bureau.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you to our crew. And thank you for watching Monday. Quincy College Athletic Director Jack Raymer is here on another edition of Currently in Quincy. We'll see you then.